I've got the church giggles. I feel like I'm supposed to behave. It's not working.
I think that I always feel like it should be, we should start out like the old Saturday Night Live. Are you ready?
Welcome to the news desk.
Welcome to the news desk. Here we are.
This is Run It Studios presents Inspiring New Growth with Trina and
Michelle.
you know your name today. That's
I do
good.
know my name today. I know.
Networking in the 417.
Some people.
I know. We're going to wear name tags next time. And then we can switch. And if people notice, they should get prizes. We should do prizes one day.
Exactly. Yeah. Why?
So if you're watching, I'd love it if you would say hi, tell me what chapter you belong to, if you do, and maybe an event that you know of that you want us to get the word out about, and we will be sharing that. I know we've been saying this starts at 1:30 on our event. We like to go live a little early if we're set up and ready to go. So if you're able to go ahead and watch, go ahead and be here and tell us what's going on. So we've been talking about what we're going to talk about today. First, I want to say thank you to Vino Cellars for letting us use this amazing space, the venue. You came and had lunch again.
I did, and got a little work done. I'm telling you, this is a great place for a lunch meeting.
Yeah.
It is so wonderful.
I always default to the coffee shops, but you know, I should branch out for sure.
Yeah, the food is delicious. I highly recommend the gorgonzola bacon dip.
Oh. I'm not a fan of bacon.
Wait, what?
But I saw your pretzels. I am a fan of pretzels.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You're not a fan of bacon?
Not so much. Sorry. Sorry.
I don't know if we can be friends anymore, Jenna.
That's just more for you.
It is more
So
for
I would
me.
give you my bacon if I ever had bacon.
I think that is, I don't even know. I don't know how you're not a fan of bacon.
Sorry.
But that's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. I'll forgive you.
Thanks.
But now you all know, everybody in ING knows,
Yeah.
Trina is not a fan of bacon. When Jerry jumps on here and hears that.
I know, Miss Hunter. Yeah, well, I know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Here we are.
here we are. We're going to be talking more about networking today, what it is, what it means. I know that there are a lot of preconceived notions as to what networking really is and what it means and what you have to do, what you don't have to do.
Right.
And I think a lot of times you kind of hear that word and I don't know, some people might think, oh, uptight, stiff, you know.
Or I don't want to commit to
Yeah.
that much time. Or I hear all kinds of things when people talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that once.
Yes.
That's always a big one.
Once.
I did that once and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Uh-huh.
well, perhaps it was not being done correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
like trying bacon once, and if you didn't like it, you would say, please try again.
I would be like, well, I'm sorry, Trina, you're wrong. So, are we concerned about this part of things?
She's got her computer over here too, and I think
I think my computer is confused because I was going to see where I could, as people ask questions, I could say,
Yeah.
hey, that's a great question because I think sometimes on the phone I can't always see them.
this is when too much technology gets to be a bad thing.
It really is. What's happening here? It's okay. We've got this down.
It says live on my end. I sure hope I hit go.
I hope you did too. But I don't know what's happening in here.
If somebody's watching, please say hello so I know that things are going.
It says live.
It did say live. And the connection should be fine.
It says it has not started. Why? Why has it not started in here? Online. Should I see if I look at it on my phone just to make sure?
Just to make sure.
Hi. Don't worry. We're professionals.
We're professionals. This happens.
You too can do this. Okay. So.
Oh no, that's the wrong thing.
There we go. Oh, it says we're live now.
No, we're live. Okay. Maybe your computer just catching
Maybe
up.
my computer's confused.
Okay.
It happens.
We do have a poor connection.
Ah.
So we do have a shaky connection. So if, please don't go anywhere. It'll come right back. I think.
don't run
So
away.
don't run away.
Yeah.
Stay here.
Absolutely. Stay here with us. Stay tuned.
So let's start off by talking about what networking is. Now, I know you've got a lot of experience with networking. I've got a limited but enough to know a few things that I do and don't like.
Yeah.
But I'll let you start. Like, what was your very first networking experience like?
Well, it's really interesting because I talk about the fact that I think I've always been networking. I just didn't know that's really
Official.
what it was. So there's formally networking. And that was really interesting. I had been invited to visit a chapter of a local networking group, and I had avoided it for a while.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that was like, oh, I don't want to commit to anything else. I don't want to do that. And I had changed companies and needed to meet new people. Mm-hmm. And thought, well, why not? I'll go meet. Why not? Fine, I'll go meet a few people. And I loved it. I loved meeting the people. And it was because, though, the person who brought me in was an expert networker.
Ah.
Yeah, her name is Kat Williams, and so she brought me into networking.
Yeah.
And she really is. She understands networking and what it's supposed to be, and so I learned from the best how to do it well. And so, yeah, that was my first experience. Made friends, joined, built my business, and I've never used any really formal advertising other than once in a while boosting a Facebook post or something like that.
Yeah.
But I haven't ever had to actually pay for advertising because word of mouth is really where my clients come from.
Yeah. I think if people called it a mixer, I think they'd be more inclined. And I think that's kind of what they should feel a little more like. You know, you want to feel like you're being threaded in with people that care about what you're talking about and you care about what they're talking about. And you really do want to not compete, but, you know, lift each other up. And
Right. Well, and I think that kind of even goes back to my second experience networking, and that was I was invited to a different group, and that felt very different.
Yes.
It was very formal. It was very much about the business itself, the money, things like that. And while that's important, obviously, I felt like it didn't really completely embrace what I see as networking.
Yeah.
So I think like anything else, the connotation of networking is the problem.
Yeah. And just like anything, when you start getting people together, I mean, expenses incur. You know, you've got to have a place to, you know, visit. And if someone can't donate that, what are you going to do? So I understand, like you're saying, I understand, you know, there's going to be a business aspect of it. But when it gets to like so formal that it doesn't feel like you're relaxed or that you can be yourself or that you're taking on another job, I know that some of,
or that it's actually limiting you.
or that it's, that's, yeah.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's when people say to me, oh, it didn't work.
Why didn't it work?
A lot of times that's what comes to mind for me is why didn't it work? Well, it may be the networking platform that's being used, or it's not enough training is going into or teaching, coaching as to how to do it correctly, or the expectation is off.
Yeah. So that brings us to why Inspiring New Growth is different.
Okay, yeah. So I'm actually a founding member, one of the founding members, and it's really, we started off because, you know, like anything, there are negatives, there are pros and cons to anything that you do. And a group of us had been networking together, and we realized that there was a lot of focus on you should do something like this, or there was a lot of focus on the networking organization, not as much the people.
Yeah.
And I think that's easy to get misaligned
Yeah.
with. And so several of us were talking and we're thinking, well, we mostly refer to each other. So, maybe we could do this, but everybody's had a different networking experience here. We've all visited different groups. What if we took all the positives that we had and we brought those together and we did something different? We took things that we liked, but then we enhanced those and made them better. And it wasn't a very big group in the beginning, and we knew we were onto something when we were filling the room. People were coming in, and I think the biggest things that are different than other experiences I've had is that everything about inspiring new growth is about the members. It's about the people. It's about the connections. It is about supporting one another, growing with each other. It is completely community focused, which is very exciting to me. Now, as far as I can tell, just looking into things, it's one of the only networking groups that I've been involved with that it's completely a volunteer effort. Nobody makes any money from it. That was something when we started. Jerry Mathis is our CEO, and she's the one who took on the responsibility of the business itself, because you really can't do it without having a business. And we didn't want to charge for it in the beginning. However, we realized that there's some costs you incur to get chapters up and going. And we wanted to have, for our members, we wanted to have a great website. We wanted to have mixers and things like that. So we started charging a minimal amount, which is still a minimal amount, but we started charging a minimal amount. The thing was, we were giving it away to charity. And so some of us were paying out of pocket for things. And we thought, wait a minute, what if we charged this amount?
Yes.
And we used what we needed to for the members and to build the business, to build the networking chapters and bring people into that environment. And what if we took the rest of it and we donated that to nonprofits, locally known nonprofits, pretty much is what we were focusing on. And what if we took that and let the members choose some nonprofits? And the other thing was that the suggestions for all of our policies and procedures all came from our members. There were 13 of us who sat down in a room, and we all brought notes from other people, and we're like, okay, this is what people want. And then we've adjusted them since then, and that was in 2018.
So in 2018, so when you guys got the idea, how long did it take to go from idea to actual regular meetings?
Immediately.
Immediately you started?
Immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, because we went from, we started out just several of us meeting in a room, and several of the people knew that they wanted this particular group to be industry exclusive because there was another open networking group that was really good, and we wanted to complement.
Okay.
So we wanted it to be industry exclusive, meaning that there are chapters, and in each chapter there's one of each business.
So after your first few meetings, when did you decide you needed to break off and form other chapters?
Probably, I think, if I remember correctly, because we started in October, and I think by that December we were already seeing that we had so many people wanting to be involved. And then by that January of 2019, we were starting to have chapters.
That's exciting.
Multiple chapters. It was really exciting. The other exciting thing is, so many people don't know those beginnings. They've come into ING now and they see what it is now. The things that we were able to do from the very beginning with the focus that we had, and humorously enough, there were a lot of people who said that we couldn't do it the way we were doing it. They said it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so...
Did they say why?
Well, because, a lot of people get caught up in the way things have always been done.
which really makes you thrilled.
It does. You know me in that one.
She loves adjusting. That's how we always
Yeah. Don't tell me something can't be done. I'm
I
gonna figure
know.
it out.
Yeah.
And that's how Jerry is too. And they did. People were like, "Oh, this won't work. You can't do it that way. You have to have stricter rules. You have to have more formality. You have to have this. You can't do it this way. Somebody has to get paid to run it. You can't." And by the way, if people are getting paid to run their networking group, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great business model. We just didn't want that.
Yeah.
We didn't need that, and we didn't want it. So, by that December, we had already made Christmas baskets for veterans at the Veterans Home in Mount Vernon, because we found out that basically if they really don't have family that comes to visit them, they don't get all the fun extras,
Yeah.
because obviously they can't.
Right.
Veterans Administration can't afford that. And so we made the baskets, and we collected it all from donations. We just put it out there, and people brought in the donations: socks, blankets, things like that, little fuzzy blankets. So we did that. We also had someone in the group come to us and say that she knew a single mom with 5 kids who was trying to do it all on her own, had lost her husband, and that the kids really hadn't had an actual, what we think of as a Christmas, in like 3 years. And so again, we came together and we told people what we were doing, and we were able to give her and her family Christmas and pay her utility bill, not only up but ahead a little bit, to get her to help a hand up.
Yeah.
So those are just a few of the things just in that short period of time. We did it again that following Easter for the veterans. In that time frame, we collected, oh my goodness, dog food for some of the rescues, not just one, but multiple rescues here. It was just every week we were bringing things in, whether that was canned goods or whether that was dog food or socks, or just coming together as the community.
Yeah.
And it was always voted on by the group. Nobody ever came in and said, this is what we're doing.
So you could quickly see that, it could be done, and it felt good. That was the number one thing. It felt good.
You were coming together with people who were like-minded in all different businesses and really supporting each other. And I think that was really my aha moment, is that I'm sitting here with people that I call friends. Everybody's sitting in this room, right? In the room right then. I could easily refer to somebody comfortably and trust that they would take care of them. And that was huge. So
let's talk about myths. If you're watching and you've heard a networking myth, put it in the comments and we'll talk about that.
Or better yet, if there's something you think about networking.
Yeah.
And we'll tell you whether you're right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What are some that, you feel like you've seen over and over that are myths?
Oh my goodness, there's so many of them. Here's one.
Okay.
That I never understood. You can only belong to one networking group.
Okay.
So not only are a lot of them industry exclusive, they're networking exclusive. So it means that you can't network in another networking group.
Yeah. So that's not something ING does, but are there certain groups that do?
When I first started networking, any group that you went to was like that. You joined their group, and you couldn't network officially in another group. You could go to networking events, but you couldn't network with another group. With the philosophy being that you couldn't support multiple people in the same businesses.
Yeah. So, and that's something that has been talked about, to exhaustion amongst many networking people and groups.
Yeah.
And I do understand that, but I also feel like when you get to know your people, you know what referral is going to fit for the person you're talking to for the most part.
Exactly. And you can refer multiple people.
Yeah.
You can also build relationships with multiple people. I had somebody ask me one time, well, what if I knew two people who do what you do. And I said, well, I would hope you would know us both well enough
Yeah.
to know who we would work best with.
Yeah.
Not everybody is my client.
Yeah.
And so if
For
somebody
sure.
does exactly what I do, which is really interesting because in that same group, when I was starting my coaching business, a friend of mine that I had met in the group was also starting a similar business.
Mm-hmm.
And we teamed up. We teamed up to
Yeah,
build our businesses.
yeah.
Now we both have different niches, but I
Yeah.
refer to her all of the time.
Yeah.
And so had I been locked into a single networking group or even a single chapter, because there are some networking groups that you don't network outside of your chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Had I been a part of a group like that, I would have never met her. We got our first really big job together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's amazing. Hey, Billy, how are you? We're glad you're here.
Billy, what networking myth have you heard, or what do you want busted? Networking myth, if you have time to type
Yeah,
that
time
in.
to jot that in there. Another networking myth that I...
Oh,
run
we
into
should say
people.
Billy Wiegand with Mountain Pine
Oh,
Studios.
yeah, that's right. Billy Wiegand with Mountain Pine Studios. I'm so sorry. I'm so
That'd be
used
fine.
to doing lives for just myself that I know the people coming in. Oh, yeah. This is what we're doing here. Yes, yes. Another one is that you will do business with, and the people in your chapter will do business with you.
Yeah.
That you're only limited to that. And maybe that's true. But really, the whole concept behind networking is that you know 200 people,
Mm-hmm.
and I know 200 people, and Billy knows 200 people, and we all introduce each other to 200 people. And it's great if you want to do business with me, but I'd rather do business with your 200 friends.
Right, right. Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And so I think a lot of people think they just walk right into a chapter and people are going to automatically just do business with them.
Uh-huh.
And that doesn't happen because you have to build relationships.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big one. I think those were several of them. I think the big one was you can't refer to people in your same field.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm all about collaboration instead of competition.
Yeah, yeah. And usually, I don't know. I mean, there's always exceptions to every rule. But for example, I've had a guest on my podcast and I've been on her podcast, and we've referred our guests to each other because it was just a way to grow all of us, just exponentially, kind of like you were saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is exponential growth when you're helping each other and referring each other and doing business with each other, collaborating.
Yeah.
You get more business from that. You know, Billy could probably speak on this, but she, you know, as a photographer, you go to photography classes, you meet up with other photographers, you get feedback from photographers. Hey, it's Carla Dunlap with 417 Pet Sitting.
Yes. Hi, Carla.
So let's see. Billy says, more of a question than a myth. How do you make the best use of networking? It feels like it can be a full-time job. Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
one. So my answer to that is you schedule it in like you would any other meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So you schedule your networking into your calendar the same way you would a client appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're finding balance between all of the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Just like if you were a huge company and you had a marketing budget and you were meeting with people on how to use that marketing budget. So you work out the schedule of your networking meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So in ING, we meet weekly at the same time. So
Right.
that's helpful because you put that on your calendar. You set up time maybe on social media. So if you set aside time during your day or your week to jump on social media, then you include any shout outs or things like
Yeah.
that you're going to do with your networking. So you really make it a part of your business. But remember, your networking is there to support your business.
Yeah.
Your business isn't there to support the networking group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that gets confused sometimes.
Yes.
Because while it is important to refer and support the people that you network with, it's also your business if you don't focus on your business. So your networking group doesn't come first. It's just not, it shouldn't. It is a part.
Right. Right.
It's a cog and wheel
Yeah.
situation, and it's a part of it. Also in networking, it is important to meet individually with people.
I was going to ask you about that. We were talking earlier about getting to know the people that you're networking with, and we call them B2Bs, where it's
business to business
one-on-ones. A lot of people call them. So what are your recommendations for those? Do you have any other tips for getting to know people better that we're not thinking of? Or
Well, I think there are lots of ways that you can get to know people. Maybe they have an event coming up that you can support. You could do Zooms, and when you're meeting one-to-one with people, you don't have to actually meet just one-to-one. Do a small group of people, get together. Make it a little more social.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're really learning about each other, because that's hugely important. You're not there to sell to one another. And so when you're sitting down and looking at your business month as a whole, like Billy's question, you are scheduling in your networking with your clients, with your appointments. And something I hear people say is, "Oh, I'm too busy to network." I often run into those same people who have quit their networking group because they're so busy, and then they're back because they quit their networking group.
Right.
Right. It's that hole in the bucket theory. There's always a hole in your client bucket. I mean, people are going to come back, but and you want client retention, but also you constantly want to be adding new clients to that. So it can be difficult to find balance, but if you put your networking group in as a part of your business, it's your marketing team.
Yeah.
So how often would you sit down with your marketing team if you had one?
Yeah.
And how would you direct them to help you get referrals out, but also how can you help them?
And the things that are going to come out of those social meetings that you're thinking, well, I'm here for business. I shouldn't be talking anything but business. The thing about that, when I've connected with Billy, for example, outside of just networking, I see how invested she is in being a great parent. I see her connecting with her kids. So when someone asks me on social media, who's a great photographer that knows how to shoot, my kids that are running all around? Well, I know Billy's going to be good at that because I've watched her with her kids and I can see she can make that connection, and I've seen her work. So it's just another layer that it's kind of neat to watch it evolve and manifest. You'll see it come together.
Absolutely. And I said Carla Dunlap, the pet nanny, 417 Pet Nanny.
Oh, right.
And it was a collaboration of visiting the networking group to even come up with that name for her.
Yeah.
But it was the people who were getting to know her that realized that she does treat her pet sitting jobs like a child care job.
And I want my dog to be babied.
Right. Well, you
Both
want them
of
to be taken care of.
Yes.
You want the person to be present and care about it. And so when you're meeting people individually, you're starting to know their heart. You're starting to see their business. And it helps your business too.
Yeah.
And, it is true that if like right now we're sitting here talking about these two people that we know.
Right.
So when I'm referring one of these two people, I know. I can say, I don't say, oh, I know a photographer, her name is Billy Wiegand. I can say, I know a photographer, she's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, I know she's going to take good care of you. I can, when I'm referring Carla to people to take care of their pets, from my own experience, but also from sitting down and talking with her, people can say, this is my friend. I know her. She has great reviews. She has great reports. So that is how to get the balance, and sometimes it does feel overwhelming. Sometimes you let it go. All I'm doing is going to networking groups. So take a moment and jot down who you've met. Are you following up with those people? Have you reached out to them? Because sometimes we're making it harder than we think.
Yeah, and going back to feeling like it's another job, sometimes it's little trial and error to some of the tasks that you want to get done for or with your group. For example, there's some social media things that I always want done for my group. So for me, I like to fire them off as they come because I'm one of those, if I don't do it, I'm worried I'll forget.
Right.
For some people, they dedicate a chunk of time. They go through where they picked up from the last time. They dedicate it, boom, they're done.
Exactly.
And it's just trial and error to see what works best with your schedule, your personality. You know, like some people, if they don't do it right then and there, it's gone forever. So you just kind of have to experiment, ask some of your other, people that you network with what they do, what works for them, and just try. Don't beat yourself up because you're not doing it just like, somebody next to you. That's not the goal.
I'm going to say the ways that you're doing it are right. Sometimes you have to adjust them.
Yeah.
The wrong way to do networking is to just not do it.
Yeah.
Or go in expecting it to be all about you. If you're not doing that, then you're doing it right. And you do have to do a little trial and error, find the balance. Something I love about ING too is that each of our chapters has their own personality.
Yes.
And a lot of times you go and everything's very uniform and all the chapters are basically the same and they have to do everything exactly the same. Well, we have a basic format and a script, and each chapter gets to handle that the way that they want to. And so most likely you're meeting with people who have your personality type, or they have what you're lacking, what you need.
Right.
And so you really have to see them as your business team.
Yeah. And for ING, it's always great because when we have a visitor, I always want to tell them, hey, check out the website, go see what else might fit with your schedule and personality. Or, because our networking groups are very different. You guys, we are a little more structured. You are a little more laid back.
Yep.
You get nervous if you have to come in and
The pressure.
and do some of the things that our group does. And so I just love that we have that flexibility available.
Are we getting the picture that Michelle has difficulty following rules?
Little rebel, you.
It's a lot of pressure. I think my daughter said it best when she went to kindergarten and she came home and said she wasn't going back. And I said, why? And she said, because she couldn't wait to go. And then she came home and she didn't want to go. She goes, rules, rules, rules. That's all we've done for 2 days is go over rules. And she goes, and I know I'm going to mess up.
Oh, no. Yeah, well.
So, no, structure. Some people thrive on structure.
Yeah.
And they need that. And that's great. I think that's wonderful. And some people need that flexibility, a little more flexibility. And that's great, too. And I think just like we should never put people into one pot.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's so different and we have to appreciate that. And I think ING does an amazing job with that.
I really do, too. Any other myths anybody wants to shout out before we move on to community events? By the way, if you can think of something coming up, please post it. I know Michelle has one.
I do.
And
have
so
one.
we're going to be talking about that here in just a second. But if you know of a community event, let us know and we'll share it with everybody. Tell me what chapter you're from. And are you finding yours?
I'm not just finding mine, but I know of another one. That
Oh,
just saw
good,
get
good,
posted.
good.
So I was going to find that under. Oh, look, the
Right
events
there,
tab.
the events tab.
That's where you find things, is under the events tab. So I know that today at 7 o'clock, Lila with Herbally Yours, and she's in the Amigos chapter, is doing a Zoom. And it's all about, she's an herbalist, and it's all about herbs for allergies.
Oh, I need to.
Yeah. Tonight from 7 to 7:30, it's a Zoom meeting. And you can find it on Facebook under Herbs for Allergies. And it's an event by Herbally Yours. And that's Lila.
Cool.
And she's so good at what she does. And she's treated my allergies, my whole family, with herbs, telling me what to get and that kind of thing. So that's a good one.
Nice.
I also know that Allie Hutzel, I believe, is in Bella Vista, Arkansas. So if you want to go and know anybody down in Bella Vista, she is, Allie and Grace are performing.
Yeah.
Let me double check that. I will find that.
That's in the Bentonville area, kind of, isn't it?
Bentonville area.
And it's pretty out there. Very pretty.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's at Lake Point. There we go. We're back. We
Boy,
went
we
away
keep
for a
getting
second.
cut off.
I don't know. Maybe it's the weather.
It's probably me. If I get within 2 feet of technology, something's going out.
Send it haywire?
I think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, so, Allie and Grace, Allie Hutzel and Grace Klena, are performing Thursday from 4 to 7 at Lake Point Restaurant in Bella Vista, Arkansas. So share that with your friends.
Okay.
You know, that's such a great thing about networking is go on out and check out everybody's events and their pages. And you'll find all these great things to do and see and experience. So those are two that I know of that are going on.
Aren't they both going to be performing at the Joe Rickman Memorial Concert, the second annual?
The second annual Joe Rickman Memorial Concert. Yes, and that is for Make-A-Wish, Missouri, Kansas. The local branch of that is the Wish Society, and we are raising money for kids locally who are on the waiting list for Wish. There are 99 kids out there right now.
In our area. Gosh.
Waiting for a wish. And it's a community event. It's community focused, so we have all kinds of things happening. So we do have 6 local performers.
Okay.
And I'm going to say those. It's Kyle Rickman and Brian Pitts and Heather White and Little White Liars. We have Gary Turner, Grace Klena, and Allie and the Cats.
Cool. All right.
And some collaboration in there too.
Ooh, fun.
So
all
some
right.
overlap. I happen to know that Kyle and Grace Klena are doing a duet or two and
Good.
kind of crossing everybody
That'll
around.
be really fun.
Yeah, it was so amazing last year. We had so much fun. All different genres of music. 80s rock, 70s rock, 90s rock. We have the crooner music.
Yeah.
So the Great American Songbook.
Hi, John. John Tebow with Lon John's Mowing.
Hey, John. How are ya?
Chapter of the alumni chapter, and I forget the other one. What other chapter?
Type it in there, John.
Type it in there. My memory's failing today.
Oh, is he in the Gateway chapter?
Yes.
The crazy early morning people with Theo Atkinson?
Early risers.
I always have to harass Theo about that because I tell him the only time that I see that time in the morning is if I stayed up all night. So yeah. So but I told him I'd make a special effort to go visit.
Yeah, well, so you have to stay up a few nights.
Stay up all night. Yeah, show up in my jammies,
Yeah.
my coffee. Yeah. So so the concert. So that's one way is to just come and support us, buy your ticket. You could be a vendor. So last year we had over 200 people walk through. So you can get your business out in front of people for like $75, and you have your table, and people come through. We're gonna have some food trucks. There's a cash bar. You could be a sponsor. We have some sponsor opportunities with that. So get your business name out there big time for sponsoring us, and you get a recognition certificate for being a sponsor. So we have VIP tickets, and you can check all of that out at www.rickmanmemorialconcert.com. And and I have to give a little shout out because Dr. Gross with Ozark Functional Wellness, and he's in the Amigos chapter, and he has a little talent for doing websites and things like that on his time, and so he volunteered to do that for us. So
Very
that was
nice.
kind of fun too. So that's a nice thing too, is people step up and they volunteer to do things. I know last year it was a huge collaboration from people in ING. They either had a table or they came or they were sponsors, and I love that because that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
It's coming together as a community to take care of kids in our community, but also showing off your business to the community. And so that's what we want. We want to highlight everybody, from the Wish kids to recognizing Joe's amazing life well lived.
Yes.
And supporting local businesses all at the same time.
All from networking.
Yes, all from networking.
Very good.
Everything I did with that last year, we put it together, the first annual in 7 weeks, and it was all because of networking.
The inaugural.
The inaugural. Love that. The inaugural Joe Rickman. I think he just sits back and laughs at me about all this.
Never make the mistake of saying first annual, because that second annual, I've been
Yeah.
corrected on that one.
that
Can't
is
you
true.
tell?
You can't
It's
say first.
inaugural. When it's the first one, it's inaugural.
Inaugural. Well, thank you for taking care of me. I don't want to go out and look stupid any more than I already do.
No.
So
Your educational moment of the day.
that's right. It's inaugural when it's the first one. Make sure you say that correctly. So if you came to the inaugural one,
Come back for the
come back for the second
Annual.
annual. And go to the event and share it. That's a great
Yeah,
way to help
yeah.
us. If you can't come, just share it.
Yeah,
Like we did
and
last year, talk
and
about
Run It Studios will be hopefully talking to some of the musicians and people that are coming together to make this thing happen, so you can learn a little bit more, and which
Yeah.
kind of makes it a little more fun when you get to learn about the artist
Yes.
and their songwriting or performing,
Right.
and then you get to actually see them doing their thing.
It really is,
So.
and you did such an amazing job with that. You know, guys, Trina with Run It Studios podcasting, she has helped me do a business series podcast that actually got me an international client. So
That's so cool. I'm very excited
Yes,
about that.
Yes. So you really need to sit down and talk with her and let her do the heavy lifting, and you just talk. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
She does all the other stuff. So she is amazing. So you definitely need to do that. And she did a great job last year helping us out with the concert and getting it out there for us.
We're going to be doing our best to do it again. We'll also be live next week. I do believe we're planning on Tuesday again. Keep watching social media for updates in case anything changes. We'll have, we're hoping to have a guest to talk to you about the location. So that'll be fun. And bring your questions, bring your networking questions, bring your community events, anything that you want us to throw out there about your business. Maybe you've got a special going on. This is a great time to share it, and we'll just get the word out and share about the community events too, and anything else that's on your minds, networking.
Anything that's on your mind's networking. Let us help you. We would love to share, like she said, any specials you have going on. You know, for example, I would think that John with Lawn John's Mowing probably has some stuff coming up with spring around the corner.
Spring is around the corner. I know he did the contributor corner for Run Radio, so I hope you've been watching that.
Saw that.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's had these great tips on, leaf removal and what you should be doing to prepare your yard. So you can go watch those if you missed any on the YouTube channel. You're looking for Run It Studios at Run It Studios. You can find it. You can always link over to all of those from runitstudios.com.
And if you're really brave,
You can be
you
a
could be
contributor
a contributor
on the
and
contributor corner.
That's right. You could be a contributor on the contributor corner, and you could come sit with us.
You
and
can come sit with
talk
us.
about
We would love that.
networking and what you do.
Yeah, we're actually starting to fill out that schedule. So if you can look ahead a little bit and you see a place in your calendar where you can come sit with us, get in touch with one of us and we'll make it happen.
That's right. We would love that.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we like hanging out
Each
with each
other.
other, yeah.
We'd like to sit and giggle with more people.
And you can have a glass of wine. It's so good here.
she is happy as a clam.
I am. But I don't know if it's the wine or the gorgonzola dip with the bacon you don't like.
That's okay. It's all yours. As long as you're happy.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a great day, and check out inspiriringnewgrowth.com if you haven't already, and share it with people that might be interested in growing their business.
Oh, no, we can't go yet. I know what I have
Would
to
you
say.
forget?
If you know anybody who is looking for employment and actually in
Right.
construction, Alpine Crawl Space Restoration is looking for someone. So that's another way we help each other.
Yeah.
Not just with business, but helping find people to work with them. It's a great place to work. You can reach out to Jerry Mathis or Billy Mathis. And that's with Alpine, Termite and Pest Control, and Crawl Space Restoration. So I almost forgot that. Gosh,
That's very important. Yes.
it is very important.
Yes.
So that's another way. So if you're looking for something that we can help you with, like that, we can do that too.
Sounds great. All right. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.